Airlines flight MH370 disappeared more than 2 weeks ago, and the search for clues remains a global effort. Australia and China have both released satellite images of debris, but so far, authorities have turned up nothing. Scott Thompson has the latest on the investigation.
China has released a new satellite image of what appears to be a large floating object in the southern Indian Ocean. The image was captured 4 days ago. The object was about 77 miles from the spot where Australian satellite images also captured objects that could be related to the missing plane. Though search crews have turned up nothing in the area, leaders remain cautiously optimistic.
It is the most promising lead that's available internationally, but there are any number of other explanations about what might have been sighted as a result of this satellite imagery.
The floating object in the Chinese satellite image is about 74 feet by 43 feet, giving some experts cause to question whether the debris came from the missing airplane.
It actually looks to be too big to be part of the airplane. There's no part of the airplane that's that wide.
Malaysian authorities say that they searched 10,500 square nautical miles Saturday. 3 military jets and 2 civilian jets participated in the search. Though the civilian jets don't have a radar, authorities are not downplaying their role.
It is more likely that a pair of eyes are going to identify something floating in the ocean than much of the technical equipment that's on board the aircraft.
And with rescue efforts heading into a third week, officials are desperate to find anything that will lead them to the missing plane. Scott Thompson, Fox 26 KNPN.
Search also continues along the northern corridor with little success. 7 countries, China, India, Pakistan, Myanmar, Laos, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, have reported their nations had no radar sightings of the missing plane. Well, there's been a string of phone scams this tax season, and one man in Connecticut is trying to warn people by telling a story. Have a listen.
This call is from the Internal Revenue Service Department. The very second you receive this message, I need you or your retained attorney of record to return the call.
Mir Chowdhury told police he received a phone call from someone claiming to be from the IRS. The caller explained he had defaulted on his taxes and there was a warrant out for his arrest. In order to get out of going to jail, the caller told Chowdhury he had to go to local stores and purchase multiple Green Dot Money Pack gift cards. Chowdhury had to read out the numbers of the gift cards to the caller, totaling $4,500.
You are defaulter. We are not accepting your credit card, debit card, money check, bank check.
It is very difficult. You know, we try to track the numbers down, see where the phone came from. You know, and again, if it's from another country, it's going to be very difficult to track the people down.
Chowdhury alerted police after realizing he'd been scammed. Police posted about the incident on Facebook, hoping to alert others about the scam that's going on. Fighting continues in Syria as rebels clash with government forces near the towns of Kasab and Dera. The Kasab crossing border is the last government-controlled section of the border with Turkey. Soldiers exchanged rocket and mortar fire while tanks rolled into the area. In recent months, the president's forces have made gains around the capital Damascus and the border region with Lebanon, seizing 2 rebel bases in the last week. The Syrian regime has accused Turkey of helping fighters launch their attacks on Kasab from Turkish territory, saying Ankara's army provided cover for this terrorist attack on the wooded and hilly border region. Turkey and Gulf Arab states have backed the mainly Sunni Muslim rebels against Assad. Well, how many U.S. troops will remain in Afghanistan? Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte had some tough questions for President Obama today about his plans for future troop levels in the country. Leading a bipartisan delegation to Afghanistan, the senator from New Hampshire said President Obama needs to speak up now before the NATO-led combat mission in Afghanistan ends this year. She also had some tough words for Afghan President Hamid Karzai, telling him to sign a bilateral security agreement and desist from releasing detainees the U.S. considers dangerous.
It is time for us to be clear about what the United States of America's commitment will be as a follow-on to 2014 and beyond to the people of Afghanistan. Now, that support is contingent on the President signing the bilateral security agreement. That support is contingent upon us resolving in a responsible way this detainee issue to ensure that further detainees are not released without going through proper judicial process.
President Obama has yet to announce a decision on the size of a U.S. force in Afghanistan after 2014. Last month, he said he would withdraw all troops by the end of the year if President Karzai does not sign a security agreement. Shots fired at a Ukrainian Air Force base in Crimea on Saturday after Russian forces stormed the outpost. This coming on the heels of Russian President Vladimir Putin signing a law formalizing Russia's takeover of Crimea from Ukraine, something the West still calls illegitimate. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott following all the breaking developments from Kiev.
It has been a hectic and violent day in Crimea. Russia apparently in the final phase of its takeover of the peninsula. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry confirming to Fox News that perhaps the most important base there for Ukrainian forces is now seized by Russian special forces. We are told 4 Russian armored vehicles broke through the front gate of the base, and then shots and stun grenades were fired. It is confirmed that 2 officers were injured. The brave Ukrainian commander there detained by Russian forces. Earlier, there was more activity. Ukraine's only submarine in Crimea seized by Russian forces, another base stormed by a pro-Russian militia. Since President Putin announced the annexation of Crimea, nearly all Ukrainian military facilities have been overrun. Officials here tell us they're trying to work out an evacuation plan for both soldiers and families. Meanwhile, in the eastern Ukrainian city of Donetsk, we watched as a pro-Russian rally of some 5,000 people was conducted. This, as officials confirmed to us, they are watching very closely the Russian troop buildup on the other side of the border. Said to be some 20,000 troops there in full combat gear. Russia says it's just exercises. They have no plans to invade. Washington says those claims, perhaps, are not credible. Finally, here in Kiev, diplomacy continues. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon meeting with Ukraine's interim prime minister, also visiting Canada's prime minister, and arriving soon, 100 military observers from the international organization, the OSCE. They're tasked to keep an eye on things countrywide. That could be a very big job indeed. In Kiev, Ukraine, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Kansas State Wildcats start from behind as they battle their Kentucky counterparts. Straight ahead, the NCAA tourney continues. Plus, Benton girls basketball on the road in Columbia. Even if you couldn't make it, we got the wrap up of how it all went down. But first,
we're talking about some cool temperatures.